The Demon Barber of Fleet Street continues to terrorize on Broadway in 2024. The classic revenge tragedy is back with two more of Broadway's biggest stars, Sutton Foster and Tveit. Here's Paul Wontorek with more.
I have followed both of you your entire careers since you first got here. And it's so exciting to see the front of the Lunfontaine Theater. I mean, come on, you're in Sweeney Todd. These moments, do you take these moments in? I mean, I know you're both real Broadway people.
I don't know what happened. I don't know how we got here. That's kind of how I feel.
Same. I know. I'm trying to really take it in. Every night I'm like, I'm gonna go do Sweeney Todd on Broadway.
Yeah.
Like this, it's something. I still feel like the 15-year-old kid.
Life is a rush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of that, though, I feel a bit more present doing it. This is Sweeney Todd, and we're in it. And these things come along maybe once in a lifetime. So. I've been really present with it.
Well, a lot of people, when they heard you were cast as Sweeney Todd, they were like, Tveit, that nice guy. I actually got to see you do Assassins in London, so I've seen the dark side. So I immediately was like, oh, yep, I can see that. I already saw the flip side of that. But is it exciting to get to show people another side of you?
It's so much fun. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to do a lot of great things, but I like going this direction. And yeah, the Assassin thing was a big, I loved that production, and I had confidence that I could do this because of that, I think, and because of what I learned doing that show. And this is just kind of that times 10 a little bit. So it's a lot of fun.
But do you find, and with you too, Sutton, do you find that sometimes people oversimplify roles from your past maybe, and they sort of think like they're this type of person, and then like, oh, they're doing this, that's interesting, but it actually just fits into your wheelhouse of the big picture of your career?
That's what I like to think, and
yeah.
I'm always curious as an actor and as a performer, creator, all of those things of taking those curious left turns, or the ones that even scare me. If I go, that feels scary, I'm like, num, 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 num. Like, that's the one I want to do, because I want to keep growing as a performer. I might always be identified as Thoroughly Modern Millie, because that was the first thing I did. But hopefully when I can look back on my career, it'll be a buffet of different things.
Absolutely.
But are these some of your darkest roles you've both tackled? Do you think of it as a dark role?
I don't think of Mrs. Lovett as a dark role. I think of her as complicated and complex.
Yeah.
I don't think of her as a villain. I think of her as someone who is desperate, and who is desperate to be loved, needed. She's conniving, and one of her last lines she says is, "Everything I did I thought was only for the best."
I don't think it's dark either. I mean, it goes to a dark place. I think this guy is a guy who was totally wronged. He had a really good life. He kept his nose down. He did what he was supposed to do. He was completely wronged by somebody above his station, and then through a extreme set of circumstances has ended up back in London and just wants to get his life back. He wants to get his wife and his child back. And then what we see happen in the play is he learns all these things that first put him on vengeance, but then you see the 15 years of trauma that has happened, and you see the veneer crack, and you see his humanity crack. And he kind of says, F all of this, all of you deserve it, all of you are the problem, right? So it's fascinating.
I feel like the audience is rooting for you. And we know, I think as an audience, oh, this is not gonna,
and I think
this isn't the answer, but at the same time, there are evenings when the judge is killed and the audience applauds.
If the audience watches the show and can say, oh, maybe I would make those same decisions if I was in those circumstances. That's, I think, trying to humanize this story, and that's been my approach to it.
Have you been fans of each other's roles in anything? Because it was exciting when I heard your names coming together, two people I really like.
I think the first time I've ever seen you on stage was Moulin Rouge, which seems ridiculous, because I just missed
Well, you won a Tony
everything.
for that. That was a big one.
I know, that was a big one.
Well, you're usually busy, so when
She's always in
when you're in
something.
shows, it's hard to see other shows. Yeah. But no, I got to see Millie about a couple months before I left school to join that rent tour, and I was just completely rocked by Sutton on stage. So it's wild to think that was 20 years ago. But here we are.
was.
Yeah.
What was your preparation like for this? Were you like walking around as Sweeney Todd for months preparing? Did you have a lot of time to prepare for this?
We only had about a month or so before we started. We were very lucky that we had a whole month, basically the whole month of November to learn the show, right? We had sessions with Alex Lacamoire and with Tommy to just actually learn the score.
Which is like the hardest thing.
Hardest thing
I've ever
Really?
learned
Wow.
the score is
tremendously
because you
difficult.
think you're like, oh, I know Sweeney Todd. I'm like, I don't know Sweeney Todd. Like whatever notes I
Is there
created.
anything specific that was really hard to get right?
All the intervals, all the lyrics, Mrs. Love is chatty. Just that repetition of trying to just learn just the basics of the music.
I mean, there's a section in the final scene where both of us are singing our own individual melodies, and we're each in our own different time signatures.
With zero help from the orchestra.
And the orchestra's doing a completely different thing.
The orchestra's this amorphous thing, and I said to Lack, I said, well, I don't know what the thing is, and I'm like, I don't know what to follow, and he goes, oh, we're following you. And I was like, but I don't know what to do. I don't know what it is. Like, so it was literally like me going, like clapping, trying to learn the rhythm so that I just wouldn't just
Yeah, you have to be rock solid because
and then trust
if it
that-
doesn't, it just all falls apart. And yeah, I've been too.
That's my biggest fear.
I've been too lucky. I've been in a lot of rock shows where there's always a drum set and a guitar telling you exactly where everything is. So this is not that. It's,
They're like, listen for the chimes. I'm like, the chimes? Like, what? Or the harpist. I was like, that's it? That's all I get?
Yeah.
Or there's like a weird amorphous thing, and then your note is like, I'm like, ah! It's crazy.
One thing you didn't have to experience this time is the terror of when is Steve coming? Broadway's entered this new period where we're doing these revivals without Steve
Without him, yeah.
being a part of it. Do you think about him and your interactions with him and the fact that you're getting to do this beloved Sondheim show?
I was always so scared of him. He scared me a lot. And I remember working on Anyone Can Whistle, and all I remember was singing There Won't Be Trumpets in rehearsal and him taking notes. That's all I remember. He was just like...
Right.
So I think about that a lot. I was like, oh, I get a lot of notes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think what I think about him is when I hear the audience and how they are responding to the show right now in 2024.
They are
and
coming
it's like,
in so ready.
They are coming in and screaming and so excited. That excites me.
Yeah, it's so many people that have never seen the show before, and are coming to see. And I wish you could I wish you could sit in the house and feel that, because it's, you know how it is in newer Broadway shows. The way that the younger audience receives the show is so vocal and so participatory, but they're also listening. And I wish he could have sat and felt what it felt like in this production.